I mean, I don't want to put it out there, but I'm going to say it's probably not going to get done. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm just saying.
And now, coming to you from the K2 Studios in San Diego, California, it's the world-famous Kris and Kristine Show.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? How you guys doing today out there? I am Kris.
And I'm Kristine, and welcome to episode 62 of the Kris and Kristine Show.
Yes, the 62nd episode. That is a great old fantastic, and thank you so much for listening to our podcast. We both very, very much so appreciate this.
Yes,
thank you so much.
We definitely do. And when you said 62nd episode, I don't know why it made me think of like at the beginning, I don't know if it was Star Trek growing up, and it was like the 21st century or whatever. I don't know. They used to make like this emphasis on the numbers, and you're like the 62nd episode.
Well, it's crazy to think. They say the average like basic podcast like ours that just starts out, they usually don't make it past the 7th or maybe the 10th episode. Is kind of like the killing off phase. So if you can make an episode,
sounds so violent.
I know,
killing off.
Well, today happens to be Saturday, and it also happens to be Halloween.
All Hallows Eve.
Speaking of killing things off and candy, killing a candy. You know, she make a movie called Killer Candy. That would be like a great idea for Halloween.
That's horrible.
Like the candy you get is like creepy and like it's killer and like it like a blobs and like
okay, that is not the right thing to say when we have stored all of the kids' candy in our bedroom, and now all I'm going to be thinking about is the candy has a life. It's going to kill me in my sleep. That was like an evil cackle too.
Well, it is Halloween, which I'm not really a big fan of Halloween. Of all the holidays I could like get rid of, I think Halloween would be the one that I would. That maybe Valentine's Day, but I don't know.
What? Well, that's because you say I don't like when people tell me what days to love you.
That's right. I have to love you every day.
You're right, you do. But back to the Halloween topic. You while we were getting ready for this podcast, I was like dying laughing. Everybody, you have to. Kris is like the biggest like Scrooge when it comes to Halloween, and he said to me, "You know what I always wanted to do on Halloween is I wanted to be the one that hands out toothbrushes to everyone."
That's right. Toothbrush fairies, I want to be.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
you're too much. And people be like egging our house, TPing our house. Old man, go away.
Brush your teeth, you crazy candy-filled mouth.
Crazy animals. What is that from? Home Alone is
right.
Something. I'll give you a count to the 10, you filthy animal.
Filthy animal. Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it is. Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Yeah, but I, being a health nut that I am, you know, and all health conscious.
Health nut.
I think that brushing your teeth is a good thing, and I think that on Halloween especially, you know, like I should probably, I mean, I always thought about maybe passing out toothbrushes.
You are a fiend for oral hygiene. You definitely are.
Because I used to have a lot of cavities when I grew up, you know?
Oh, so that's your trauma.
Right.
Got it.
It was. Going to the dentist was like, it was probably as bad as going through like a minefield.
Yeah.
Like,
and you honestly, you freak out if you run out of mouthwash. Like you're like, I don't know what to do. I only have toothpaste. Like, I have to go to Target right now. Like, what do you think is open for mouthwash? It's obsessive.
I got on the mouthwash kick probably, gosh, I don't know, years ago it was. And I think I had a sore tooth at one point, and I just started getting this really strong mouthwash. And guess what? The tooth pain, it went away.
It kills the germs.
It killed whatever it killed, but I didn't feel the pain anymore.
Yeah.
So I just kept on mouthwashing it away and pretty regularly for the most part.
So kiddos, people, brush your teeth, use your mouthwash, floss, do all the things, and you'll keep away Mr. Cavity, right, Kris?
Absolutely. Stay with a dentist. And luckily for me, well, actually not me personally, but my children, my kids, Jacob and Mason, they have never had any cavities, which surprisingly, because when I was their age, I had like, I don't say root canals, but I had like crowns and cavities and all that junk by the time I was Mason's age.
Well, I was thinking about that just earlier today as we were getting ready for Halloween. And I was wondering if it had something to do with the fact that like in the early dental visits now, kids get the fluoride treatment and like the extra enamel treatment on their teeth when they're younger, which helps create like a protective barrier. And that happens when they're pretty young. And I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. Like it helps strengthen the teeth, maybe?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a dentist, by the way, for the record. But yeah.
Really, you aren't? You claim to carry every other title like therapist and president and lord, and you're not going to, and you call yourself doctor. So dentist isn't one of those things?
I think if we were all stranded on a deserted island, right? I think I'd be like the guy that would take over the doctor role, like everybody go to me for all the
You
answers.
just want to be like a soap opera doctor. You want to be the one where they walk in and they're like, oh, doctor, I don't know what's wrong with me. And they faint in your arms.
I'd be like, oh, let me just give you a kiss. Like Sleeping Beauty. That usually works.
Nice try, bucko. But hey, do you know what else happened today on Halloween?
I don't know. What else?
The polls opened.
The North Pole finally opened up. Santa Claus must be so excited.
No, they call it Super Saturday. So because everybody has to, well, not everybody across the world or across the country, but all in California, we all have to vote by mail this year. And so they're calling.
Wait, I thought they actually had polling places opened up. Did they?
Yeah, but I think that it's to drop off your ballot. I don't know if you can actually vote in person or if you take your ballot in person. Because if everybody got in California, everybody got the ballots in the mail. But Super Saturday and Sunday, the polls are open. So it's 4 days of voting. And so today officially kicks off election week. How do you feel about that?
Ooh, everybody get out there and vote for whoever you think is your favorite future president of the United States.
Right.
And I'm not on the ballot this year. I'm sorry. I did not get my what do you call it? Your thing in time. What's it called?
Yeah, but you could write your name in.
I did that. You know what's funny? You know who I voted for?
Who?
I put Santa Claus on the fill-in ballot.
Oh my gosh.
Because he's everywhere, And,
did you really just tell me that?
Yeah, well, you voted for him too?
No, I just hate when people don't take the election process seriously.
Well, last year I voted for Darth Vader, and that
would have been a good vote because he did keep the Empire going for a long time.
That was the Emperor that was in charge. Darth Vader was kind of like the second-hand guy,
but he's the one who did the real work. He's like the vice president.
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, I think we should vote for the Fly. The Fly, Pence's Fly is what is getting my vote this year.
That's what Zeke was saying. He was joking about that earlier. But hey, on a serious note, though, and I'm not joking about this at all, but I attend USC, and in my organization also that I work for, there's a lot of material that is starting to come out and circulate about emotional support for individuals during voting week. And then
what for?
Well, I was just going to explain it, but there's also like police departments and things that are readying themselves in the event of protests or like the emotional ramifications. And, I have some serious anxiety about what's going to happen the day after the election. But do you think with everybody voting by mail, we're actually going to get results the day after?
No. I think they'd have to open every one of those ballots up, right, and run them through a machine or something. There's got to be a physical person that actually opens that crap up and runs it.
That's what you would think, but with the Electoral College and them actually being the ones that elect the president, do you think that we actually are going to have to wait for all of the ballots? Because we've had a couple of races in the last 8 to 12 years where the person who won the popular vote isn't the one who won the Electoral College.
Right. That is true.
I don't know. It's kind of crazy, right? How everything works.
It is very, very crazy. All I know is by the time that our next episode comes out, we hopefully should know who is the next president of the United States.
Yeah. Well, but speaking of elections, I think there's a lot of different random things that come around at election time, propositions and laws and things like that.
There's a bunch of crazy ones, too. Like I heard there was one. Was there one about in Montana or some crazy stuff about? But actually, we're talking about just California ones, right?
Well, just anywhere. Every year, there's like propositions and things that make their way to the ballot that are just a little bit crazy.
Hey, yeah, that is very true. And I was going to tell you is that last week. You know what last week was?
What?
It was my birthday week.
And gosh, are you still milking that, old man?
Yes, I'm going to milk that all the way to the polls. But no, my birthday was last week ago today. It was last Saturday.
Uh-huh.
And we had a very, very special guest on the show that came and joined us for my birthday.
Yeah, we did. And she also happened to be promoting a bit about different thing that she's doing related to propositions on the ballot, right, Kris?
Absolutely. And we will have her on the show right after this. Hey there, K2 crew. We love having you as our loyal listeners.
To keep up to date with what's happening behind the scenes, check us out on social media.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter.
And don't forget to follow our Facebook page.
Yeah, tag us in your favorite fun stories, and guess what? You might just end up on the show.
Ooh.
The Podbreed Network is strictly for the small podcasts that are up and coming in the vast world of podcasting. Podbreed is made up of many diverse podcasts, coming together to achieve the same goal of being the best damn podcast network on the planet. Find out more at podbreed.com.
And welcome back, everybody. On today's show, we have an amazing VIP guest for you. She is an actor, comedian, writer, podcast, and yes, she also works in film and television production. This lady wears lots of different hats. Welcome to the show, Tara Jean O'Brien.
Oh my goodness, you got it right. I am absolutely a VIP.
Yes,
100% VIP right here.
Absolutely.
Wow, we feel special. This is amazing. What a special treat. Thank
Very,
you.
very
Thank you
important.
so much for showing up today.
I just want to say that's the first time I've been called that. And so I'm going to bask in it probably for the rest of my life. So thank you for that gift already.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Speaking of gifts, what's today?
Chris's birthday.
Oh my God. Happy birthday, Kris.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm gonna cry now. I think I won the Oscar. You know, you guys love me.
True. Your gift is both of us showing up for you.
Oh, thank you.
I woke up and I got dressed. So happy birthday.
Well, there you go. That's an accomplishment right there.
What did you like want anything specific for your birthday? Like any gifts or anything you wanted to do? I'm curious about that.
I'm kind of curious about it too. Actually, I want to wake up today and not have a headache. I had a little headache last morning, but yeah, it's Saturday. I'm on vacation week for my birthday. It doesn't get any better than that. But I didn't go anywhere because of COVID. So,
well, I took you out to dinner last night, but he did say we were sitting and we have coffee every morning together in our sitting room, and we just kind of chat and wake up and face the day with a little cup of coffee. And he's sitting there rubbing his head with a cold towel on his forehead, and he's like, "Babe, do you know what would be the best birthday present ever?" And I was like, "Oh, I already bought your present." He's like, "If you would go into the garage and reorganize my workbench."
What a gift. It's the gift that keeps on giving to nobody except for Kris.
Exactly. So that is a hard pass.
you know what's funny? That's been my one big project I was supposed to do this whole staycation really, was to clear the garage and clean the workbench. But I have not gotten to it yet, and I go back to work next week. So...
I mean, I don't want to put it out there, but I'm going to say it's probably not going to get done. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm just saying.
I think you're realistic. I think you're very realistic. It'll be one of those things where, like, at 2:00 in the morning, I'll hear him come home from work and be like, "What is that noise?" Oh, he got some Red Bull and he's motivated.
I mean, if that's what it takes. Well, happy birthday, Kris. I'm honored to be here as a special birthday gift to you.
Oh, thank you so much. That is
thank
wonderful.
you. Now, speaking of that, Tara, where in the world are you joining us from today?
Oh, I am in Los Angeles, California, specifically in the ever so glamorous San Fernando Valley.
Oh, so you're a Valley girl.
I am. I won't talk like a Valley girl this whole interview unless you really want me to.
Oh my gosh. Like, totally.
Oh, you're like Valley girl at all.
OMG.
Like, oh my God. It's like Southern California pride, you guys. Like, oh my God. I can't even take it.
Like, gag me with a spoon.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Have you grew up there the whole time? Have you lived there your whole life?
No, I did. Well, I've lived here for like about 20 or so years. I came down here to go to college. I went to USC. Fight on.
Fight on. Trojans.
Thank you. I always like it when people are like happy about that and not like, oh, USC girl. And I'm like, I get it. I understand who I am.
I'm a USC girl, so I totally relate.
Oh my God. That makes me I did not know that fun fact. So now I'm much more comfortable.
Yes, I'm graduating with my doctorate in May from USC.
What are you graduating in?
Organizational change and leadership.
Oh my God, you're so cool. That's
Thank
amazing.
you. Well, of course, because I went to USC like you.
Yeah, duh. Oh,
Hey, I've been to USC too. I was on campus. So, and I got a t-shirt, so I'm halfway there.
Actually, it may be for the department you graduated from. He has a t-shirt from USC from the Department of Dramatic Arts.
Good for you.
Well, thank you.
We allow everybody to buy our gear. I just want to say that. We allow everybody to buy it, so it's fine. But anyways, that's so exciting. Fight on, Trojan Fight. But yeah, so I went down here, moved down here to go to USC, but I grew up in Nevada mostly, in Reno and Las Vegas, which I know is weird to people, but I did. They have humans there that exist as babies and then grow up as adults.
Not slot machines, huh?
I mean, I'm not kidding when I say people have asked me with like a dead straight face, like if one of the classes you like have in high school is like blackjack, like how to play blackjack. And I was like,
or counting cards.
Exactly. People think that's real, and it is. I wish it was.
Well, I bet. Yeah. So in Vegas, now once you leave the Strip in Vegas, it's pretty normal city. Like everybody just goes and hangs out in that one little pocket of Vegas. But once you get out in the outskirts, it's like a regular town.
It's suburbs. I mean, it's all suburbs, and people live in, like I said, there's schools, there's freeways. It's a regular place to live. Everybody, Nevada. I mean, kind of.
Now you grew up in Reno and then Las Vegas. So were your parents gamblers?
No, but so my grandparents actually were. They retired. They were like my mom's from Northern California, and when my grandparents retired, they did move to Reno, and their actual what they would do every day is go gamble. And they're not alone. There's a lot of older people that do this. And my grandparents were once, I forgot all about this. They were once in the Reno Gazette-Journal because they hit the most royal flushes in 1 year at the Peppermill Casino.
And that place closed down after that, right?
By the way, I think the most was like 25. So they definitely lost a lot more money than they won, but that's still pretty impressive.
I hit a royal flush one time. I was super excited. Never came close since, but Kris, wow, that's amazing.
I want you to understand that I know this is going to sound like weird, and I've never hit a royal flush, and I'm not kidding. That is one of my lifetime goals. I don't know how my grandparents did it 25 times in 1 year. What are you talking about?
Was it on the same machine? Like they took the machine and they took it out in the back, and the casino just beat the crap out of it.
They bullied it. They bullied it. They did. That's how they did.
What are you doing?
Well, I will tell you, Tara, that if you had focused more in your counting cards class in Las Vegas High School, you might have had that royal flush, right?
Oh my God. I don't need this kind of pressure. I understand. I was not a good student.
Hey, babe, that's the wrong game though. Counting cards for blackjack, not for poker.
Oh my God. You guys don't know anything about gambling. I'm leaving this podcast.
Oh man. I learned craps, but I did flirt with the guy next to me to teach me, and Kris was standing over my shoulder, but then that guy next to me helped me win $150 and didn't ask me to tip him, and he didn't work for the casino, so I felt like I was winning.
That's because as a Trojan, you have your eye on the prize.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
That's correct. That is right. Yes.
So you moved to the LA area to attend college, and then what happened through that process?
I mean, so I came out here to be an actor. I went to the school theater at the time at USC, and that was the whole point to come down here. So I double majored because I am an overachiever, if nothing else. I double majored in political science and theater because I essentially got almost a full ride from USC. So I'm like, I'm going to milk this. Give me all the classes. Give me all the stuff. I'm going to do what I can. But so I stayed, obviously, because I wanted to be an actor. And so, that is a very hard and very oversaturated career to move to LA for.
Really?
I know, right? That's a newsflash for everybody.
No way. I had no idea. I thought you just walk into LA and the first thing it'd say is, what movie do you want to be in?
Well, they just hand you an agent when you walk, when you get on the 405. Yeah, you just get an agent. They're like, hello.
That's what the toll roads pay for.
They do. It's just agent commissions. It's just 10%. There you
Exactly.
go.
It's the findings fee for you.
So, and I always knew I wanted to be in comedy and all that kind of stuff. So after USC, and I automatically wasn't a series regular, which was weird. I thought I would be that. So I started training there's a lot of comedy schools around. So I went to Iowa West, and I was a member on a bunch of teams there for a bunch of years. And I trained at the Groundlings and UCB. So basically, I'm an improv slut. So I really got around, which was great.
Whoa, there you go.
Yeah.
Put that on your resume.
I think it is. I think it's yeah. So I did a lot of comedy. I did, whatever acting work I could do. I worked at, I actually worked at a dance studio called Third Street Dance for years, where Dancing with the Stars used to rehearse. And that was interesting. That's a whole other podcast.
So wait, are you a dancer too?
I would not consider myself a dancer. I would say I worked at a dance studio and took free classes because it was fun. And it was like partner dancing, like ballroom dance.
Well, it's kind of like what Dancing with the Stars is all ballroom type stuff.
It's all ballroom.
So I've been told. I've never watched it. I'm a guy.
Oh, yes. It seems like you're not familiar with it.
Not at all. That or The Bachelor.
Yeah. Do you get your rose? I mean...
I love it. So anyways, I've done literally like every job you could possibly think of sort of in Hollywood. And eventually I had a comedy band called Vomit, which was
What?
That's attractive.
It's the best. I know. We got a lot of attention. No, it was me and another girlfriend of mine, Annalisa, and she had this idea for this band called Vomit, where it was basically like two of us, we played sisters. And so we would go on stage and we would sing songs. And every time we would go do the act, we would end it in like a fist fight, like a fight. Like we would fight. Cause
Really? Like Jerry Springer style?
Yeah, like we'd slap each other, and like it wasn't like we wouldn't like roll on the ground, but our goal was to eventually have like an hour set where that's what the end would be, and we would like smash our guitars. Like it would have been, anyways. So we were doing that, and it was so fun, and we became regulars at the Laugh Factory. We were playing the improv on Melrose. Like it was really a lot of fun, and we got a development deal, and we were pitching our own television show. And it was really an amazing experience. And we pitched to MTV, and they were like, the executive who we pitched to was like, we want to move forward. We like it. So we didn't like that either means like they're going to give you money to write a pilot or something like that. And she got fired 3 days later. So classic Hollywood story.
Oh, no.
And so then, of course, because she had gotten fired or whatever, like none of the other execs were going to take on projects that she was going to take on. So it was sort of dead in the water. And that was very, as you can imagine, gut wrenching for me. And so I kind of was like, okay, it was really hard. It was a really like weird period in my life where I was like, this sucks. Like, they're so close, right, to something or to whatever it is. And because I went to USC, to bring it back, I have tons of friends that work in film and TV. And they had said to you, like a couple of my friends specifically were like, you would be a great production person. If you ever want to like, do it, just call me. I'll make you a PA. We'll train you, whatever. And so it just happened to be the timing of this when this all sort of went down. Another friend of mine was working on this movie called Unstoppable with Denzel Washington and Chris Pine.
I love that movie. The train, right?
Yeah, the trains. Oh, yeah. And so she's like, come be an office PA. And I was like, fine. And the reason it was hard for me to take those jobs, for anybody that's listening, is when you work in film production, like in the production office, there's no like leaving for an hour to go audition. Like it's tons and tons of work, and you can't, you're there all day. It's all hours, and it's just a hard job. So, but I did it. And as people predicted, I was a very adept production person. And then, here we are 10, 11 years later. And that's sort of like I would call it my day job.
So going back to one of the things that you said, you were talking about USC and having all of these people in film and television production. Has the network at USC really helped you in your career?
I would say, again, I went to the School of Theater. I wasn't in the film school. So there are two different things at USC, but there's a lot more crossover now than there was when I went there. But I was still buddies and friends with a lot of people in the film school because, as an actor, you end up doing people's student films, and you're there.
Right.
Oh, right. That's right. Like you need someone to fill in. I'm doing something for a project. You got a weekend? Can you help out? Okay.
Exactly. Or like, yeah, or somebody's like, hey, I was supposed to turn in a film. It's due in 2 days. Can you film all night in my apartment and we'll make something up? Like, not to say film students, but that happened.
Right.
Right.
So anyway, I did have sort of a network. I would say yes, like the USC network, but that's mostly, I wouldn't say it's like officially like through USC, but it was more of the people you meet there and become friends with and network with and just like who your friends are. And so, yeah, I would say absolutely getting into, I would not be a person who would normally just like, you could hire in production because I was an actor and I didn't really have that background, but all these people knew me and they're like, oh, like you'll take to this because you understand I understand the process of, basic filmmaking.
Right. And so you found that you were like really talented in the area of production, like pretty savvy. You picked it up fast?
Yes. And yeah, and it's essentially like, I had survival jobs that were like, I was a personal assistant for a couple people and I worked in sort of offices. So like the office environment, I also could, I just sort of knew. And so that's essentially what a production office is like, the hub of a TV show or a film. It's like everything sort of happens from there and goes out and, gets made.
Wow, that's like a little inside scoop into like behind the scenes of Universal Studios.
That's right. This is exactly how it works.
But not as fun. Not as cool. You guys have the shark that jumps out at you on your little, as you park your car, going to the office.
You're like speaking from the backlot tour. That's Kris's whole perspective of production is like the fake Jaws coming up to the little trolley.
I mean, Universal Studios is pretty cool. I did get to shoot there on Key and Peele. We shot there for like a week or two on the back lot. And the cool thing is when you actually shoot there and you get like a little golf cart when everybody's gone, like we were like, maybe we're not supposed to, but we were totally driving around all the other little sets and walking around and saw Jaws in the thing. And it was like, it's kind of cool.
That is way cool. Oh yeah, we were planning on going back, but because of COVID and everything, I don't think they're even open anymore, are they?
No, I think
all that's closed.
Yeah, all the theme parks are closed. So you had this great career in production, but I see on your fabulous bio and resume that you also are a writer, and you've had some pretty fantastic experiences there too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't sleep, guys. We'll just put it that way. I'm just kidding. No, yeah. So I've always written. I think I've done stand-up for the last like 6-7 years, and I've always been a comedy writer, and I wrote for The Onion for a while, which was amazing, and some of the funniest effing people in this world write for The Onion, and it's amazing. Like one of the things I got to see is sort of like there's twice a week pitches and you sort of see what other people are pitching. And it's just, you're just like, man, these are funny people that are smart, like funny, smart people.
So
that was cool.
Explain to Kris what The Onion is, because he was reading an article a few weeks ago and he legitimately thought that it was real.
I forgot what it was. I'm like, hey, honey, did you check this out? Did you know? Did you know that? I forget what it was. It sounded like it could have been true. So, but it was like off the wall. I forget what it was though.
But he was like, it's written down, so it's got to be real. It's on the internet.
It's on the internet. It's on this legit website.
Kris, I feel like we have to start over with you. I mean, not everything on the internet is true.
Get out of here.
He thinks Wikipedia is the most reliable source.
It is. It is. It's a pedia. It says in the name.
I can't even with
Kris.
you.
You're so lucky it's your birthday.
I was also told at one point in my life, you're so lucky you're cute. So.
That too. I didn't want to say it. But yeah. I mean, essentially, The Onion is it's a satire magazine. Like, that's what you would call it. It used to be actually physically printed. I don't know if you remember, like, it would be just like the LA Weekly or like any of the like weekly mags for any city. But yeah, so like one of the things like the one you probably saw is they do just headlines, like funny headlines and topical or evergreen. And it is meant to seem like it's real because it's like funny satire. So yeah.
I saw the post. I think it was either on Twitter or Instagram, and it was, I forget who posted it and where it came from, but I saw it and I was like, what are they talking about? Because I get most of my news from social media, for the most part, like Twitter and like Instagram and things like that. And I see, what's this headline? And as I saw that, I kind of like what? what is this about? But I wish I could remember what it was, but it was something crazy like Trump cut his leg off in I don't know, an accident at the White House. I don't know.
That's about right. That's about right. Yeah.
And I was like, wait a second. Oh.
Now, I also saw that you're a contributing writer to one of my absolute favorite things on the face of the planet, and it's summycards.com.
Oh, really? That's
my
awesome.
gosh. I have like this little book that one of my coworkers bought for me, and they're completely sarcastic and about women in the workplace.
Yes.
I die every time one of those pops up anywhere. So what is that like writing for Summy Cards?
So that's just, it's interesting. It's all sort of like a lot of these online publication now, like they have people working from like all over the country, all over the world. Like I've never met anybody that works for The Onion. I've never met anybody except for my one friend. And I've never met anybody at there because it's all remote, right? So you essentially sort of pitch ideas, or like for some e-cards, I was compiling on their website. They do, gosh, I can't even remember the name of any of it, but like you would compile like the best tweets to prove you're a millennial, or like, and so then I would go and I would find like the best tweets that people were tweeting out and sort of compile it like a listserv, or what do they call a listicle, that kind of thing. And so like that's where like, that's where the funny stuff. But the other thing, the some e-cards I think is better known on Facebook, because they would do those little like Hallmarky cards, and it would be like the little drawings of people like, I hate you, and she's giving you a cake or something. And
right.
Yeah, a little silhouette of the person or whatever.
Yes.
Those are so hilarious. But anything that Summy Cards puts out, I die laughing at. Anytime I see it pop up anywhere on social media, I'm like, I have to read this and go down this rabbit hole, because it's just so satirical and sarcastic and hilarious and everything I wish I could be, but I'm not.
Listen, as long as you understand and appreciate it, because the theme you're hitting on with me is like, oh, she's a sarcastic person. I'm like, maybe just a little bit, but it's amazing when you encounter somebody who's like, oh, I don't understand why that's funny, and I'm always like, I don't know how to explain it to you.
Yeah, if you have to explain a joke, then it's either not funny or they don't get it. I like to say they don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, because when you have to explain a joke, it really makes the joke so much funnier. So
I know, huh? And they try telling it again. They try telling it in like a different way, like using a different tone.
Yeah.
And they're like, still don't get it.
No.
Maybe that's my problem, is I start with trying to explain the joke before actually getting to the punchline. And people are like, why are you diagramming that sentence for me? It's not hilarious.
I think it's because you're so nice, Christine. I think there's a nice part of you that's just dead inside of me. So
there you go. There's your tip of the day, Christine.
You're welcome.
So I will die a little bit on the inside to become my aspirational hope of who I want to be. Thank you.
Don't do it. Don't come over. Don't
die
do it.
to the thought of other people's opinions. There we go.
I love it.
So when you first started doing comedy, like first doing stand-up, what was it like for you, your first time, like getting up there?
That's a good question, because so I have such a strong background in improv, and I've done improv for 15, 20 years. And improv is most people would know it's a team effort, right? Like you can't do improv. I mean, you could try to do improv by yourself. I don't know anybody who has, but you have team members. So like when you're doing a scene or something, people can tag you out, or like you're never stuck up there alone. And I'd sort of gotten to the point with improv where, you do it a long time and you can't do a show unless there's enough people to do a show. And I was getting sort of frustrated with that. And because I had always written, I was like, you know what? Let me just see if I can do stand-up. So I actually took a class, which I know a lot of stand-ups like turn their nose up at. And I'm like, I recommend everybody take a class, because what it does is it gives you a safe space to go up and just not be funny. And that's what I did for 7 weeks. I was like, I had all these ideas of things I wanted to talk about and jokes I had written. And I think there's so much, and people, it's hard to like explain this, but written jokes do not always perform well, right? Like just like Christine saying, like you read a joke and you don't always get it. Like sometimes a joke, like a stand-up joke, if you write it down, also isn't funny. So it's like, it's this weird balance of going, okay, like really like getting down to like, first of all, who am I? What do I want to say? What do I think is funny about the things I want to say? So when I did that class, it was an 8-week class, and I was like, and like the first 7 weeks, I was like, oh, I'm so glad I did this class because I should not do stand up. Like this is like, it wasn't going well. And then the 8th week, something just clicked, and I was like, oh, and I don't know what it was, if it was my delivery or maybe I just sort of threw it away more and didn't care as much. And then we did like a showcase show, and when I say like I could have dropped the mic, like it was like, oh dang, like this is my future. And so I sort of just started doing it, and I've it's solitary. It's far more like lonely than the improv world, but you're also sort of, I mean, if things aren't funny, it's your fault, right? There's no one to blame it on, and so it's an interesting exercise in responsibility, I would say.
Right, and at some very good comics, I don't know how they do it, but they will say the alphabet, and you're laughing. You're like, why am I laughing? It wasn't just the way they said it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you have to know your brand, right? And how people, the other thing is there's a familiarity. Like once you get to know a comic's tone, then they've already sort of set you up. If you like them, they could almost say anything. They could almost say the alphabet because you know their perspective on it.
Right. So when you got started, how long was your sets did they give you when you first get started?
I mean, 5-minute sets. Like you start out, yes, not a lot.
So 5, is that like the norm? Like say I wanted to try it, 5 minutes, what they usually give you to start off?
If you do open mics and stuff like that, it's generally 3 to 5 minutes. Like, so there's 3-minute sets, there's 5-minute sets. I mean, it doesn't sound like a long time, but it also can be a lifetime. If it's really not going well, it can hurt.
Right. Oh yeah, I believe it. Like crickets coming out.
Yeah, 5 minutes of people staring at you and not laughing is enough to like take years off your life. Where you're like, this is great,
and you're pushing it hard too. You're just coming out and give everything you got, and you're thinking, well, this will get them, and then you say it, and it's flat.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can imagine what that's like.
Yeah, stand-up I have mad respect for stand-ups, especially people who are touring. When you're like going to a new town and, this is what is, especially for women, for female comics, like there's a lot of these small towns that it's like you go to these clubs and they don't expect you to be funny. Like they don't, like just the immediate thing is like, oh, there's a woman on stage, I'm about to not laugh. So there's that thing to just overcome too. There's a lot of just, before you even speak, things to overcome as a stand-up, and it's amazing when it goes well. It's amazing to connect with an audience, to really like have it go well is an amazing feeling.
Do you find that the gender dynamics really are difficult in trying to break through in comedy?
100%. And I wanna, just because I've now done it for long enough to see sort of some of the ebbs and flows. Like when I was doing Vomit, we were performing in stand-up clubs. We were not performing at improv clubs. And I think the reason for that is because we were scripted, right? Like we were just like stand-up is scripted, like the people have written jokes and then they perform those jokes. And so we found that we would get a really, really great response at stand-up clubs, but it was where they put us up in the lineup. They either have to start with us or end with us because we were, we played music and, had this little act. And so if you're doing, if you have a stand-up that's, 10 stand-ups doing 5 minutes and they're all just doing straight up jokes and standing there, and then we come on with our 2 guitars, the audience like has a minute to be like, wait, what is this? So unless we opened or closed, it was a weird sort of dynamic.
Right. It's a completely different thing going on they're kind of used to.
Right. But back then we would have the male stand-ups they were not nice to us. And I'll just say it that way. They were not nice to us. And the ones that were, there was like a handful of them. And this one guy, Maximini, who's an amazing stand-up right now, he's Persian and he's killing it. He loved us. And like, there was like a handful of guys that did. And then we would go do like shows with them all around town. Like that's how we got into the improv and the Laugh Factory is through other comics. So it wasn't like a broad generalization that all guys were, but like a lot of them very much were not nice to us.
Do you think that it was because they felt threatened, or do you think that they just didn't understand you as women in comedy?
God, it's a combination of all of it, right? Like I think there was they would get really mad when we would do really well. Cause then it would be like they would say the reason you guys are getting laughs is cause you're the only chicks here. Right. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a weird thing to say. Or they would be mad that we hadn't been doing it very long and they felt like they'd been doing it forever. So they were just like,
oh yeah,
there's that. It's just a lot of dynamics. And I think now doing stand up on my own, I feel like the dynamic is not as bad. Like it's not that initial, like we would walk in a club and be like, oh my God, is anybody going to be nice to us? Where now it's very different. Like it's a much more supportive community than it used to be. And I think because a lot more people are doing stand up. So yeah.
Yeah, so I saw that dynamic play out on one of my favorite Netflix series, in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Have you watched that?
Oh my God, of course. Yes. I love that show.
But I love some of the parts where she shows when she is like going to an open mic night or appearing with male comics that don't know her and the lack of acceptance. And it made me wonder if that was still a reality for women in this profession.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it was Amy Schumer. I think at the end of the last year, she put this statistic, like of all the headlining acts, I think it was 12 or 15%, and this is around the country, 12 or 15% were women in 2019. So like it's not just, it's also bookers, right? It's people booking comics, and I understand like, as a club and whatever, you have to book acts that you think are going to get people in the door. But there's a second barrier of like, well, maybe you should give more women some feature spots or give them more opportunity to do an hour, so it's changing slowly, but it's not changing like really in stand up all that much.
Yeah, and thank you for highlighting that. Kris likes to give me time to talk about gender dynamics on the podcast because it's something that I'm super passionate about. And then the underrepresentation of women in different types of professions.
I need to, because I love women too. So
I know you do. I know. But I love that you highlighted that because I think it's twofold. It's that maybe enough women aren't being given the opportunity to be able to persist because they have to figure out other ways to earn income to be able to stay afloat. But then the other thing is this gatekeeper perspective of whoever the gates are that are keeping women from being able to access these headliner shows. And so, being able to address the booking feature, which, they're privately hired and they're hired to do a specific job, but who knows, there could be an amazing breakthrough artist that they haven't even given the time of day, and it's just really sad. So thank you for highlighting that.
Oh my God, happy to. And I hope, I think the more people talk about it, and by far, in a way, I'm not the only one talking about this. I just think the more people talk about it, the more you just go, oh, well, maybe I should, if I'm a person who goes to a comedy club, maybe I'll try to go to the one that has a female opener or, give the like club feedback about the great female comic, something like that. I don't know the answers other than I know there's a ton of hilarious female stand-ups out there right now of every level.
Well, I'm sure there is. Now, speaking of stand-up, in this midst of COVID that we're in right now, how is it happening? What are you seeing happen right now?
Oh, everybody's doing these Zoom shows, which I am not, just me personally, I'm not a fan of doing because I don't think it doesn't translate for me. Like I don't get anything out of it because you're not getting the same laughs and the same responses as you would live. So to me, I'm like, it's not really my thing. And then there's all these like parking lot shows.
Lot shows? What's that about?
Yeah. Like even at the Irvine Improv. So they're basically like they're putting a little stage up in the parking lot, and then you sell tickets and you go in your car and like you can change just like the drive-in. I think that's how they're doing is they like essentially like turn it to a channel, and the comic, you stay in your car and you can watch the show from your car.
Well, that's a really interesting approach.
But it's kind of the same way because unless they're really screaming kind of loud, are you really going to hear the laughs that much if they're in their car locked up?
I think people are like getting out of their car or like sitting like with chairs, like lawn chairs, like by the side of their car.
Oh.
It's like, cause I've seen pictures of it and I've seen that's what people are doing, but you do hear the laughs, like you enough people, and because people are drinking and, having a good time. I think it's not the same by any means, but I think it's one of the only live performance like mediums right now that can actually do anything, to be honest.
Totally. And we interviewed another comic recently from a different country who was allowed to start performing live in clubs, but they put plexiglass in front of this individual while they were performing. And Kris thought that it was a fantastic idea. And why was that, Kris?
Well, I call that the tomato blocker.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know why they haven't done that here, like any kind of like stage, thing, glass thing.
You guys are in San Diego, right?
Yeah.
Right. There's a club in San Diego that has opened, and I have a couple of friends, and they are doing a 25% capacity. And my friend Kim, she performed there, and she's in front of plexiglass.
Oh, what club is it?
God, I gotta look it up. I'll look it
for
up
sure.
Was
while
it
we're
La Jolla,
talking.
La Jolla, or was it the? There's another one in San Diego. There's La Jolla. What's it called? La Jolla something or other.
Comedy club.
Comedy. Maybe that's what it is. La Jolla Comedy Club. Sounds
I'll
about
find
right.
it and I'll say it as soon as I get it here. Let's see, American Comedy Club
Yeah, that's
in San Diego.
Yeah, it's on Claremont, right?
There you go. That's the one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember seeing that place. Because I deliver gas for the gas station next door to it, and I was there, and I haven't seen the place open in a while, but it seems kind of dead. But maybe they opened up. Okay, great.
Yeah, apparently 25% capacity with a little sweet little plexiglass between you and the audience.
Well, I think that's definitely a good idea to limit capacity. And I've mentioned this to others before, but, it creates a line outside, which makes it appear as if it's in high demand, which makes people really want to come. And, sold out crowds are never a bad thing for your ego, even if that is only 4 people in the room.
Right.
I sold out a crowd today. Well, how many people were there? 7.
It was a full house.
Right, but that's exactly how I would say it forever. I'd be like, it was 100% capacity.
Yeah, it was a
for the
COVID full
25%.
house. Yes, absolutely.
And they all laughed at all my jokes, even the dumb ones.
Yeah, because they just they were so starved for human contact. I could say anything and they would laugh. Like,
Absolutely. And especially if they were masked, they could say, did they think you were funny? Well, they were smiling with their eyes. So yes.
They were dying. It was great.
And I have to agree with you about the Zoom stuff. I am not a fan of Zoom. I'm not a fan of Zoom in general. I'm definitely not a fan of Zoom in the comedy scheme because I just can't even imagine trying to do that. It's almost like you're just taking your phone, recording it, and then putting it out there on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I could sit and watch it either. Like sit and watch it.
I watched a couple, and it's sort of like you can do the things that you really, when you're like sad or lonely, or you have a friend doing it. It's like you do want to like connect, but for me, I'm like I'm not out there trying to hustle and do all these Zoom shows because we do actually. So my improv group, Brother Bradley, I'm on an improv team at Second City. We have still been performing online like once or twice a month through Zoom, and it's weird to do improv not in the same room with somebody, but there's also this sort of like, we like it because we still get connected to each other, and it's like, I get to see their faces and we still get to be funny. But I think it's more of an exercise for us versus an audience to sit and watch. And I think that's the same for stand-up. It's more like you're practicing.
Have the numbers really dropped? Like say a stand-up, the old back to 2019, back to good old days versus today's version of Zoom. Is there a difference in numbers of like comedy clubs?
You mean comedy clubs doing it, or people
watching? People like the audience size in general. More people watching Zoom versus going in person, or the other way around.
That's a hard. I wouldn't even know how to answer that. Other than I know comedy clubs like here in Burbank, there's this club Flappers, and they have been they're doing Zoom shows like every night, a bunch of night, and they're charging like $5 to watch. And it's like, well, because that's how they're staying afloat. So, I don't blame them. And I don't know. I mean, I've watched 1 or 2 of them, but for me, it's hard. It's hard for even me as a comic to watch. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's something different when you're staring at a computer screen and laughing. Mm-hmm. We watch TV shows together and they might be really funny and we laugh, but it's more of a collective experience. I feel like everybody's got to do what they've got to do to make ends meet. But sometimes like sitting by yourself in front of that screen and cracking up, it's not as much of the same experience. And so I can't wait until we're past COVID and to be able to go back and do all of the things we love.
Yeah, absolutely. And the final thing I would say about just like live performance in general, because I've done theater and improv and all this, and these industries we're in a world of hurt because even a vaccine comes back. Like, who wants to go sit in an audience and watch a musical when you're surrounded like with like 1,000 other people? It's really hard, and there's a lot of people that are employed in live performance, and it's the industry that I was like, the road to coming back is so unclear, and my heart goes out to everybody who is in it and who it's hard.
Yeah, and it's the thing that brings so many of us so much joy, so it makes it even harder where it's that thing that we're so looking forward to getting back to seems still yet so far away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, I can imagine. Like my sister has worked at a casino here locally, and she was a cigarette sales waitress chick or whatever you call them. And the casino, when they did come back, they decided to make the whole casino non-smoking. So she pretty much was like out of luck, and she's kind of holding out on trying to find work, right, in the government unemployment. And stuff like that. But I mean, a lot of people in the service industry, especially in the entertainment industry, it's got to be really, really rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking of Broadway and everybody that's been impacted, but yeah, definitely in the era of comedy. And so with that being said, what other projects have you been working on during COVID that have brought you some joy and levity?
Well, I am nothing if not self-motivated. So I actually worked on a lot, which has been fun. So one of the things I did, I have a friend who's a filmmaker, and he and I had been writing prior to this. We wanted to do a live stage show of, are you guys familiar with Nextdoor?
Like the Nextdoor app?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Those comments are crazy.
Yeah. So people who aren't familiar, it's essentially like a community sort of board, and you can join yours and find out who your most racist neighbors are. And
yeah.
and all your crazy neighbors. But anyway, so we were writing a live show, which we were going to do, like perform. And so when this all sort of went down, he's like, hey, we should turn this into like, we should do this as a short and then come up with a TV pitch for it. So we did. And so we wrote it. And then Scott and his brother and his little team found a camera and a little setup that we could drop off to each actor's house that was, COVID safe. And he could control the camera on Wi-Fi from his phone. And so we made a short during this.
Wow. Well, if you need some inspiration, I saw something come through the Nextdoor app yesterday. It was a lady in my old neighborhood, because I'm still on that Nextdoor app, who was looking for advice from her neighbors because her son has decided that his orientation is for anime. Not men, women, or anything in between. But she's wondering, I can't even say it. See, this is what happens when I'm telling a joke.
Okay.
I can't even.
Okay.
So
Go on.
Please. I'm on the edge of my seat.
I know. So she was asking for help in how she can help her son have a fulfilling love life.
And let me tell you, Nextdoor is where you go to ask that. Like, oh, it's beautiful. You can't even make that stuff up. Like, why would she post that? Like, why?
I have no idea. And it came in my email inbox yesterday, and I thought, somebody's got to create some kind of great bit out of this because it's too good to just let die. So there you go. You're welcome, Tara.
Oh my God, thank you. Honest to God, anybody who's listening, please send them to me at Tartar Sauce One, at Twitter, at Instagram. I've been collecting these things. Y'all, like, America's crazy. Like, and the stuff they post on Nextdoor is bananas. It's amazing.
Oh, you're going to get this one from me. Yes, you're going to have it by the end of this show.
I love it.
So you created this list of shorts. Do you also have a podcast?
I do. So we do a couple podcasts. I did this one called Single versus Married. We're on a little hiatus for that. And I do this one called Cinema Craptaculous, which is a movie review podcast where we review, let's say, B movies, B or less movies.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Do you guys ever think about turning into kind of a version of like, was it that
Mystery Science Theater?
Yeah.
Oh, I've actually pitched that. I was like, that would be super fun. But then I was like, can you like, I think you get into legality too, where I don't think you can like broadcast, even if it's just the audio and then us talking over it.
Yeah, I think I was trying to figure that out too, to do something like that too. Like say Zoom, say like say you and I on Zoom. Like I played it on my computer and shared it with you on your computer, like say a Netflix movie, like a real bad one or a TV show. But then somehow we muted it, but we recorded ourselves. So we had our audio. So our listeners would start push play and us at the same time. And then it would match up. That was the idea I had. But trying to figure out, like you said, how to get the audio, figure that stuff out. I don't know.
That's kind of a really good idea.
Yeah, he's been thinking about it for a while. So when you're looking for a collab on your idea, just reach out to the world famous Kris with a K, and he will hop on that train in no time.
There you go.
I love it. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, this has been really amazing to learn about you and your background, your creative projects. And did you also have one last project that you were working on related to the election?
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Christine. Of course. So the one time I put my political science degree to use is as many people are having, let's just say, anxiety for this election, I was like, I got to turn this into something. And I have always researched the propositions. So in California, we have like ballot measures and propositions. In 26 other states, there are also these things. So not every state has them, but people who do get it. And so anyways, I decided to do a video for each prop, which is basically sort of an explainer. Like it gives you a little more information about what the prop is, like why we're voting on it, and sort of like kind of like both a little test, like a little touch of each side of the propositions. So I've been releasing those, and you can find them on Instagram or YouTube or Twitter, and that's it. The show's called Popular, obviously.
That's very clever. I love it.
That's so fun. You know, I think that a fun spin on that too would be to find the craziest 2020 propositions, because it's been quite a year, and to just find out the craziest laws around the globe or around the country that people are trying to forward into.
We did an episode. Don't you remember we did an episode?
We did the crazy ones that are actually laws, but this is 2020. I would love to see what types of people come up with, like maybe outlawing gremlins as house pets or something.
I mean, I'd sign on to that one. I'd say yes.
Hey, honey, what was the one about Montana, about the sheep or something? There was one law that said like you can't take your sheep out unless you have a chaperone or something like that.
Oh, you can't like you can't have your sheep in the cab of your car unless you have another person in there. Your sheep would have to be like in the back of your vehicle to make sure no inappropriate activity was happening.
Wait, what state was this?
I think it was Montana. There was another one that outlawed women from driving down Main Street by themselves. And if they wanted to proceed down Main Street, then their husband had to walk in front of them with a flag, waving it in front of them. Yeah. So
We're great.
Yeah, it's so fantastic. But this has been an amazing interview. Thank you so much for bringing so much energy and joy and laughter to Kris's birthday. I will tell you, Tara, on a little separate note, he said this was the thing he was most looking forward to on his birthday, was this interview with you.
Kris, you have to shoot higher for your dreams. but I appreciate that.
You got to start at level 1 for 8 to level 2. So.
I mean, you did get a VIP, so I will not forget that.
Oh.
Yes, you are right. So one more time, let us know where our listeners can find you on social media.
Sure. Again, I'm Tara Jean O'Brien, and my handle for pretty much everything is Tartar Sauce 1, which is TARTARSAUCE and the number 1. And that's pretty much it.
That is fantastic. And where did you come up with Tartar Sauce 1?
Oh, again, let's go back to USC for the 17th time. My college roommate, her boyfriend just started calling me Tartar, and then Tartar Sauce. So it's sort of just like and then it just stuck. Just like tartar sauce.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, because it's like tartar, like Tara, tartar.
Yeah, you get it now?
Yeah, I'm a little slow sometimes.
Okay.
No, that's right. But like, again, so it helps people who think it's going to be Tara. And they go, no, it's tar.
That's it. Okay, I'm going to write that down. Got it now. Thank you.
But thank you so much for being on the show and for sharing all of your expertise with us. And listeners, definitely check out Tara Jean O'Brien and all of the great projects that she has going on. And thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you, guys, and happy birthday.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Once every harvest moon, a talk show comes along that is so groundbreaking, raising the bar to such heights that other podcasts step back and say, wow, that show's got it figured out. With a host, tempered in focus, commitment, and sheer will, this is The Derek Duvall Show. pop culture, news, and interviews with fascinating people that channel the great Edward R. Murrow and Walter Cronkite. The Derek Duvall Show. Find him on Twitter and Instagram at Derek Duvall Show, and find his new episodes every Wednesday on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Play, and Podchaser. The Derek Duvall Show. The best thing to happen to Hump Day since the Geico camel. What?
Well, that was a fantastic and spectacular interview. I loved having Tara, Tartar Sauce 1, on the show. She was amazing.
That was such a great interview. I loved it so much. And I didn't mind the banter back and forth between the two of you. I think you might have been flirting a little bit, Kris.
Me? Nah. Whatever. Maybe just a little bit.
Maybe a lot of it.
Well, she did just like one of my posts recently. I posted, I forget,
See, my philosophy is look but don't touch.
That's what I always say. As long as they want to, they like looking. I'm like the window shopping you do at the mall. You walk around, you just like look at things in the store, and you're like, yeah, that looks pretty cool, but you don't go inside and buy it.
Right. So funny. But speaking of Tara, I thought that it was such a fun interview, and I will honestly say I have not laughed that much in so long.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're funny, but like that's a whole different level.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Yeah, she was great.
All right. Don't get all butthurt about it.
I'm not butthurt about it. Not even a little bit.
Me laugh, but that was a whole nother level of like. I kept my mouth hurt because I was laughing so much, and I really do think that Tara and I should be besties. So, FYI, Tara, if you're listening, BFFs, we can even get those heart necklaces. That's like best friend.
Okay, you're getting a little too crazy here.
Don't get jealous. You think you're my bestie? She could be my bestie too.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous.
I know you are.
Jelly.
I know. Don't hate.
Well, I don't, And this episode has been fantastic. And heads up, we've been doing this episode entirely live on Clean Feed.
Oh my gosh, Clean Feed nerd.
I know, I love it. We're trying something new tonight, late on Halloween, and because I had a few, piece of candy, and I'm a little jacked up on candy right now, a little bit.
Is that what your excuse is?
Yes, it is my excuse.
Because you're sassy today.
It's candy sass. You ever heard of that? You eat too much candy, you get the candy sasses.
Yeah, the sugar sass. There you go. That should be a thing. Like you talked about the killer candy at the beginning, but maybe that like results in sugar sass.
Well,
that sounds like a stripper name. Sorry, that was really inappropriate.
Hey now.
That was slightly inappropriate. Sorry if your kids are listening.
I know. So, Christine, you got anything else to wrap this thing up with?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking that, sometimes behind the scenes, you and I have creative differences and differences of opinion. And what I wanted to say is that over this week that we're rolling into when it comes to election week, there are people that have very strong opinions on both sides of the fence as it relates to politics. And I've heard of so many individuals that things have gotten out of hand. They've lost friendships. People aren't talking. And I just want to encourage everybody that in the midst of the election and the emotions and everything that's surrounding it, please don't forget everything that's brought us together in the midst of COVID. And that is kindness and humanity and understanding that we've all been through a lot this year. And so I would really encourage you, before you post anything aggressive or start trolling somebody's post or, any of those types of things, please just remember what we've all been through and hold that close to your heart and speak out of kindness instead out of what I call polarizing differences.
That was amazing, babe. You should run for president. I think, wow, that was great.
I'm a couple years too young.
How old do you have to be president?
42, I think.
You do?
I think it's 42.
Are you sure?
Okay, you keep talking. I'm going to look it up right now.
Okay, folks, I don't think it is 42. I think it's 35. Maybe it's 30. I thought it was in the 30s you had to be president, or maybe it's vice president.
Keep talking.
But I do know you have to be born in America to be president of the United States.
Dang it. See, your mom and I were arguing about this the other day, and I said 42. It is 35.
What?
I have been old enough for 4 years.
What? Unbelievable.
Sandy, I'm sorry. I know you're going to be listening to this. You were right. I have no problem admitting I was wrong. And this is the person that was...
Save that clip.
And this was the person... all right. Watch yourself, sassafras. And this is the girl who used to teach government as a full-time job. Like, that is ridiculous. Christine, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh, babe, I don't think I'm not ashamed of you or anything like that at all. You are amazing. You are a wonder to watch. When I watch you cross the room here, I'm like, wow.
Oh my gosh.
Check out this amazing girl.
Whatever
She
you're
knows
trying to make up. You're trying to make up.
I'm not trying to make up anything. I'm telling you this speaking from the heart. It's all very true and honest.
But
and
the point is, I could have run for president 4 years ago, Kris. Where would the world be if it was Christine Shipman that was the president? Although our paths might not have crossed had I been
probably
president.
not. Probably be like, who's this guy? This loser guy. I'm a president, for God's sake.
Or you would have been like, she's the president. I don't want to do that. Like, I want to live in that house. I don't want to be the first man.
The first, yeah. Can you imagine me being the first man? You'd be the first lady.
What would they call you?
You'd be the first lady.
They would call you the first gentleman. That sounds like something slightly inappropriate.
If I'm the first man, what would you be? The first?
I would be the president.
The president's NC for lady? Or is it president still?
President is gender neutral.
It is?
Yes.
Oh.
It's not like Latino and Latina. It's not presidento and presidenta.
Even the presidente.
That's why a woman could be president and she would be called Madam President.
That's right.
Yes. Madam President.
Wow. You don't hear that every day.
Madam President and the first man.
That's right.
Or the first gentleman. I still think that the first gentleman, even though it's like proper, it sounds slightly inappropriate. It's like gentleman's club.
Right.
I don't know why I have these things on the brain tonight.
You do. I don't know what you're coming up with. You were just on the fly. It is getting late. We are jacked up on Skittles and it is.
No, mine's $100,000. $100,000.
What's $100,000?
It's what I'm jacked up on.
You had $100,000 candy bar?
Yeah.
Where'd you find that at?
Don't tell. I can't say.
Those things
because our kids will listen and then they'll get mad.
Those things are loaded up in peanuts. You know that?
No, they're not peanuts. It's like crispy stuff. That's Payday you're thinking of.
Oh, what's $100,000?
$100,000 is like little. It's kind of like almost like a Rice Krispie with caramel and chocolate.
Right. Yeah, I'm thinking of the Paydays that are like caramel and
You're
peanuts.
out there. But anyways, my point is, with all of this, is to say that we're running into election week. Definitely check out Tara and what she has promoted on her interview this week with her Unpopular. And we will be back with you soon.
And we will be back next week.
Remember this week that life is too short to wake up in the morning with regret.
So love the people who treat you right, forget about the ones who don't, and believe that everything happens for a reason.
If you get a chance, take it. If it changes your life, let it. Nobody said that it would be easy.
They just promised it would be worth it. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kris.
And I'm Christine. And until next week,
keep moving forward.